So as a designer, an architect in the built environment, we design for the long term. We also design recognizing that everything we do has both a community impact and an individual impact as it relates to both the environmental systems and the human health. We've only recently started to get our arms around the notion of a better understanding of materiality, what our world is built from. Not just simply what it is cost, what does it look like, but really understanding that most of our man-made materials are things that we create for long term, and yet sometimes we throw them away. We get rid of them after 5 years. The circularity approach, which is something I've been teaching for a number of years, is only slowly coming to architecture. The idea that there is a long-term life, cause and consequence, that in fact we need to understand where the material comes from and where it goes. It's the genealogy of the materials. And so the Cradle to Cradle Institute and the various leaders have created the tool for us to start down that path, which, by the way, is very challenging for my design colleagues. They don't think about materials in a deep way. And so the education as well as the certification becomes extremely important to make better decisions. So the firm with whom I work is Gensler. Designs everything from new products and brands, say a wine label, to the second tallest building in the world. And so in that range of architecture, materiality, interior, finishes, furnishings, furniture, a consistent approach to understanding the benefits of not just the vendor's large picture view of giving that genealogy, the background of the material, but it gives us a consistent approach that allows us across project to project with perhaps the same client to get a consistent methodology. So the idea, we talked a bit about the European taxonomy, the idea of a consistent vocabulary or consistent measurement that indeed includes perhaps targeting, a targeting of sort of stepping down carbon, which is our current big focus, or increasing the, if you will, the biodiversity support of the production of the material is important for us because it's not what we think about regularly. As designers, that material footprint is something that we're still struggling to get our arms around. Circularity in particular talks about operations, often after we're long gone, but yet as designers for this long-term built environment, we'd better start to understand the life cycle of our products and its impact on the environment and our human community. So over the last, say, 5 to 10 years, we as a design firm of the scale that Gensler encompasses, 6,500 people, 50 offices, almost 1.5 billion square feet of product design a year, of building and interiors design a year. We've been trying to understand a consistent methodology to get our arms around materiality. We've looked at many of the protocols, and in fact, in some ways, there's too many. Where do we start? What do we use for, say, the interiors, for furnishings versus, say, the core and shell or the streets and infrastructure? And so the implication of creating a consistent approach across those various organizational bands, looking at product, looking at built environment, looking at packaging, even looking at things that we may not be directly connected to, like, say, cosmetics or consumer products, but we design for those clients. And understanding those clients' aspirations in a consistent tool like Cradle to Cradle makes a lot of sense to us. Now, the jury's still out. Will my product designers embrace this particular protocol? That's something we still have some work to do. The approachability, the affordability, the vocabulary is still something that, while the Cradle to Cradle focus is heads and shoulders, in my mind, above many others, we still have to find a way for our teams to feel comfortable using these new tools. Well, what's interesting is here we are in this amazing city of Amsterdam, and everything around us was made for tomorrow, in some cases hundreds of years ago. So as I've noted, and I teach this, is the built environment does not disappear after it's done. It's not a piece of art that has a short life. It's certainly not a comestible or consumer product that ends up in the trash or waste within 2 weeks. It's something that has long-term impact on the human habitants, the environmental or natural world, the larger global issues as we talk about now of carbon. So Build for Tomorrow should be learned from yesterday, continue to reuse what worked and perhaps tweaking it. So Build for Tomorrow is perhaps elevating our notion of flexibility, durability, and of course with the challenges we face now with climate, it's ecological footprint, but also currently its resilience. Can it respond and continue to operate today and tomorrow in a way that does not adversely impact the long term or adversely impact the human and natural environment in which it sits? So Build for Tomorrow is kind of this continuity of thinking. It's not like just tomorrow, it's learn from the past, use what we have today, and do better in the next few years, if not thinking strategically in the long term.